Hello friends, welcome to class of Transportation Engineering. In this lecture, we will continue with the same topic, that is highway materials and testing. We were discussing various tests on the aggregates, and we were left with one last test, that was the bitumen adhesion test. In this lecture, first we will cover that test, the bitumen adhesion test, and we will move on to discuss the bituminous materials. Okay, we will again discuss various tests on the bituminous materials. So before moving ahead, let us see where are we. We have covered introduction to highways. This is over. Highway geometry design we have covered. We have covered traffic engineering, and we are now currently discussing the highway materials and testing. And I'll say we have covered some 35 to 40% syllabus of highway materials and testing. Then we will be quickly discussing the pavement design and these two small topics, that is the airport engineering and the railway engineering. So for now, let us move on to discuss the uh, bitumen adhesion test. Okay, bitumen adhesion test. So the bitumen adhesion test is the test on aggregates in which we find out what is the adhering capacity of bitumen to the aggregates. It is known to us that bitumen and aggregates, bitumen doesn't adhere to aggregates that are wet. Okay, so we need to compulsory dry the aggregate first and then use the bitumen coating on it. So in this test, what we do is we take some aggregates, we cover it with the bitumen. There are very stringent specifications as per the provisions, which I am not stating, and we keep these aggregates that are coated with bitumen in the water for 24 hours, and later on we visually inspect that how much of the bitumen is stripped off. Okay, we can see that by naked eyes. So that is what the bitumen test is. So for your information, please write down that it is a static immersion test. Static immersion test. So it is very simple test, and that is the reason it is widely used in the practice. Okay, it is the static immersion test. As bitumen doesn't adhere to the wet aggregates, as bitumen doesn't adhere to the wet aggregates, aggregates at all, we must use dry aggregates compulsorily. Okay, so I hope you understood what bitumen adhesion test is. If you want, you can just search for it. You will get sufficient information regarding this test. Just take a note that as per IRC, the stripping value of aggregate should not exceed 5%. As per IRC, the stripping value doesn't exceed 5% for use in bituminous surface dressing. For use in bituminous surface dressing. Okay, and still there are some penetration macadam and the bituminous macadam constructions when aggregate is immersed in water bath at 40 degrees Celsius for 24 hours. So I guess this specification is sufficient that the stripping value should not exceed the 5% for use in bituminous surface dressing. Okay, so let us now move on to discuss the bituminous materials. The bituminous materials, bituminous materials. So bitumen is a hydrocarbon of either it is naturally or artificially obtained. So what is bitumen? First you write down bitumen. It is a hydrocarbon. It is hydrocarbon obtained either artificially or naturally, obtained either naturally or artificially during fractional distillation of petroleum. During fractional distillation of petroleum. So in fractional distillation, there is arrangement of this kind, and there is cylinder like this, and the crude oil or the petroleum. Okay, you say here the crude oil also or the crude oil. Crude oil or the petroleum is rotated in this. So when this is rotated like this, then the dense material goes to the periphery. The dense material goes to the periphery, and the lighter material is left in the center. So the lighter material is sucked out. Okay, suction of lighter material that stays at center. Since it has got the less density, lighter stands for less density. Okay, and the dense material goes to periphery like this. Here will be the dense material, dense one, dense material. So this is how the fractional distillation is performed. So the fractions that are obtained are, please write down the fractions obtained are. First fraction is fractions obtained. First one is the gasoline, that is the purest one, and it is the aviation fuel. It is used as aviation fuel. Second one is the petrol. Third is naphtha. And like this, the fifth one that is obtained is bitumen, which is impure. Bitumen, and which is impure. So there is some fourth one. The name currently I don't have the name of it. Okay. So these are the fractions obtained from the fractional distillation. Okay. So we will now discuss asphalt. Okay. Asphalt. So it is simply nothing but asphalt is bitumen plus some inert material. Okay. Bitumen plus some inert material that may be material of minerals. So bitumen is actually too much temperature susceptible, too much temperature susceptible, and inert material will be very less temperature susceptible, very less temperature susceptible. So it is better for the use since it is stable, and it is durable. Okay. So as a whole, what we get some stable material, that is asphalt. And nowadays almost all the roads are made up of asphalt. Okay, market has got asphalt only, no pure bitumen. Okay, so please write down that all the roads now, all the roads are now made out of asphalt. Market has asphalt only and no pure bitumen. No bitumen at all. Okay, so finally it is just bitumen that is made stable, and we call it asphalt. So let's discuss what is tar. Okay, it is wood and coal based material. It is wood and coal based material. It is a viscous liquid obtained after destructive distillation in absence of air of organic materials such as wood and coal. Okay, so if you want to write down, please, it is viscous liquid. So it is a liquid. It is a viscous liquid that is obtained after destructive distillation in absence of air of organic materials such as wood and coal. Okay, so you should know what is tar, and so it is obtained from the organic materials, and bitumen that is obtained from the uh, fractional distillation of crude oil, whereas it is obtained after the destructive distillation in absence of air. Okay, you should know these things. So in destructive distillation, there will be some container like this that will be packed like this. Okay, airtight one. And since it is in absence of air, and there will be wood or coal over here, wood or coal. Okay, and what we do is we heat this one. Okay, and after some time there will be some viscous liquid that will be coming out from here, and we simply collect it, and this black colored viscous liquid, this is tar. Okay, this is tar. So tar is always in liquid form. Tar is always in liquid form irrespective of temperature. It is always in liquid form, and but bitumen is not. But bitumen is not. You change the temperature and you will get different states of bitumen. Okay, so this is the reason why tar is used as othering material. Okay, tar is used as othering material, or that is used as attaching material. Please write down that tar is used as othering material. Tar is used as othering material or the attaching material for roads. So it is something that is the bonder. Okay, it is used like somewhat in some sense it is kind of bonder the othering material. And apart from this othering material, okay, what all you get to see is either it is bitumen or it is an asphalt. You may say practically it is asphalt. Okay, please write down that else what all we see, else what all we get to see is bitumen or asphalt. Okay, so since it is othering material, that will be, you cannot see it because that will be somewhere between the two materials, between the aggregate and the bitumen. Okay, uh, since it has to other it, it has to act as a bonder kind of thing. So but still we commonly call all the roads as the, generally we classify them as the tar roads, though what we see is the bitumen. Okay, so that is what the problem is, but that is fine. So next one we are supposed to discuss is the cut back bitumen. Cut back bitumen. Cut back bitumen. So cut back bitumen is simply bitumen plus some diluent. Bitumen plus some diluent. Maybe it is like petrol. Okay, diluent may be like petrol, and its role is to reduce the viscosity. To reduce the viscosity. So using this, uh, we get some liquid material. Okay, using the diluent. You know what diluent is, I need not explain you now. So how you can reduce the viscosity is either by increasing the temperature or by using the cutbacks. So in cold countries, instead of heating, what they do is they use the cutbacks. Okay, so they reduce the viscosity. Since their temperature is too less, the bitumen is in solid state, and they just want to reduce that viscosity, so the cutbacks are used. Okay, we will discuss cutbacks in details what are the types, and many things about it. For now, you just understand what cutbacks are. So fifth thing that we need to discuss is emulsion. Emulsion. Okay. So emulsion is bitumen plus water plus emulsifier, and it is used to stabilize the sand, that is to increase the strength of the sand. I'll come, we will discuss five of these in details now. Okay, when I come to it, we will discuss about it. Okay, so let us now move on to the first one, that was the bitumens. So we will discuss the tests on bitumen now. So the tests on bitumen. First test is penetration test. Penetration test. It is to determine the hardness or softness. Okay, hardness or softness of bitumen. Okay, hardness or softness of bitumen, and it is measured by the depth of penetration of the standard loaded needle. Okay, so please write down measured as depth of penetration of standard loaded needle. Okay, loaded needle in 5 seconds. Okay, and it should be in 1/10 of mm. 1/10 of mm. So the unit is 1 unit of penetration is, so 1 unit of penetration is 1 unit of penetration is equal to 1/10 of mm, that is equal to 0.1 mm stands for 1 unit of penetration. Okay, 0.1 mm stands for 1 unit of penetration. So please understand that in this test the arrangement will be something of this kind, and bitumen will be filled in this, and there will be needle that has got standard load. The standard weight of the loading assembly is 100 gram, and the size of the needle is 0.1 mm. I'm just trying to give you some specifications, but what you need to understand that, and you drop this needle from here, and what is the penetration of this needle in this bitumen. Okay, so if the penetration is 5 mm, then the, in terms of the penetration test, the units of the penetration test, it is regarded as 50. Okay, so in such way, in this way the bitumens are graded. For example, suppose there is a bitumen in, of, it will be like, suppose it is 70 to 100 grade. Okay, and then the penetration value will be here. In this case, the penetration of needle or penetration value will be equal to 7 to 10 mm in 5 seconds. In 5 seconds, and this grade 70 oblique 100, 70 100 called, it is compulsory in market. Compulsory in market. Okay, so softer the bitumen, higher is the penetration. It is matter of common sense that for soft bitumens, the higher is the penetration. So higher is the grade, soft is the bitumen, and for hard bitumen, lower is the penetration. Okay, so in market, the commonly used grade of bitumen is 30 by 40 in hot climates, and suppose it is going to be a cold climate, then what we will have to do is we will have to use the bitumen that has got higher higher grade. Okay, like maybe 60 70 like this. Since the temperature is low, we need less viscous bitumen, so we need to use the higher grade bitumen in that case if the climates are hot. Okay, so the question is that, can we perform this test on the tars? Can we perform this same test on tars? As we have just discussed that tar is soft and it is a liquid material, so it is not possible to perform this particular test on tar. Okay, so next test is the ductility test. Ductility test. So as per definition, it is expressed as the distance in centimeter to which a standard briquette of bitumen can be stretched before the thread breaks. Okay, so please write down. It is expressed as distance in centimeter. Expressed as distance in centimeter to which standard briquette of bitumen. Standard briquette of bitumen uh, can be stretched before thread breaks. Before thread breaks. Okay, so what is done in this test is there will be ductility testing machine where there will be two briquettes and there will be bitumen placed here, and it will be pulled onto either of the sides and it will be drawn into wires. Okay, and when if you can draw something into wires, then it is what we call that the material is ductile. So it is all about checking whether it is possible to draw into thin wires. Okay, and it is the then in ductility testing machine, the briquette molds. Ductility testing machine, the briquette molds, and softer the bitumen, it is more ductile. So soft bitumen, it is more ductile. Okay, and hard bitumen, it is less ductile. Okay, so I am just avoiding to give you further specifications in terms of what should be the temperature, what should be the rate of pull of the briquettes. Okay, so I am just avoiding it, and the acceptable value, okay, the desirable value is 50, and what ductility it reflects is adhesiveness and the elasticity of material. So please write down, it reflects the adhesiveness and elasticity of bitumen. Okay, so now let us discuss the next test, that is the viscosity test on bitumen. Viscosity test on bitumen. Okay, so it is a term that is measure of resistance of flow. Measure of resistance of flow, or in simple terms it is consistency. Okay, so to find out the viscosity of bitumen, we use the orifice type viscometer for bitumen in liquid form. Okay, for bitumen in liquid form. And secondly, we use the float test for bitumen in solid form. Okay, for bitumen in solid form. So next one is the specific gravity test. It is used in classifying the bitumens. Classifying bitumens. Okay. Uh, it is like for the range of specific gravity of bitumen, is between 0.2 to 0.97. If it is 0.97, then it floats in water, and specific gravity of bitumen, when it is bitumen having specific gravity 1.02, that sinks in water. Okay, and note that cutbacks have lower specific gravity values, lower specific gravity values. Tar has got specific value ranging between tar has specific gravity value ranging between 1.10 to 1.25. Though it is a liquid, it is always heavier. Tar is a liquid, but it is always heavier compared to bitumen. So bitumen can be lighter than water. In some cases, it is also heavier than water. But if it is tar, then it is bound to be heavier than water. Okay, it will always sink in water. Tar. Okay. So let us now discuss the softening point. Softening point for bitumens. Softening point. Test used for softening point is ring and ball test. Ring and ball test. You might have performed experiments using this test. It is a very common test, and you know what it is. It is actually a temperature. It is temperature at which the substance attains particular degree of softening under specified conditions. Okay, so it is basically temperature at which the bitumen obtains. In general, it is for any material. Okay, obtains particular degree of particular value of softening under specified conditions. Under specified conditions. Okay, so there will be some conditions specified for the softening test. So ring and ball test is used for finding out the softening point, and harder is the grade of bitumen. So hard grade bitumen, higher softening point. Higher softening point. Okay, and lower grade bitumen. Lower grade bitumen, or the soft, here you can say soft grade bitumen, lower softening point. Okay, so the softening point usually varies between 35 to 70 degrees Celsius. Okay, higher will be the softening point, lower will be the temperature susceptibility, and it is for this reason that kind of bitumen is preferred in the warmer climates. Okay, higher is the softening point, lower will be the temperature susceptibility. I hope you understand. So please write down higher the softening point, lower is the temperature susceptibility. So I hope you understand what does this mean. Higher is the softening point, lower is the temperature susceptibility. So is preferred in warm climates. Okay, warm climates. Okay, so let's now discuss the next test, that is the flash and fire point test. Flash and fire point test. Guys, in this test it is important to understand that ring and ball test is used for the softening point, and you should know these relationships, that higher is the softening point, lower is the temperature susceptibility. So this is what it is, that hard is the grade of bitumen and higher is the softening point. So you should understand, you should uh, have a feeling that how the bitumen is going to behave at what temperature. Okay, what grade of bitumen is going to behave in what way, at what temperature. You should have idea about this, and such kind of questions are asked in exams. Okay. So the next test that we are going to study is the flash point test. Okay, flash point. So what is flash point? It is the temperature at which fuel gives off vapor that flashes when exposed to an open flame. Okay. So in this test what is done is that there is an apparatus named Penske-Martens apparatus. Penske-Martens apparatus is used. Penske-Martens apparatus, and in this apparatus, this name is such a complicated name, but it is something nothing but just a dabba. So it is just a container of this kind, and we heat it from bottom. Okay. I am not giving you the exact specifications, and when you heat it from bottom there will be some vapors generated here. Okay. So when there are some vapors generated at that time, the temperature at which the fuel gives off the vapor that flashes when exposed to an open flame. Okay, these vapors, so this is the fuel. In our case it is the bitumen, and what we do is we heat it and then we just slightly expose it to the open flame. If these vapors flash, then that temperature is called as the flash point. Okay. Secondly, fire point is the temperature to which fuel must be heated to burn continuously when exposed to an open flame. So again same is the thing, but what you do, you go on heating the bitumen, and there will be some vapors coming out, and you again expose it to an open flame, and if these vapors burn continuously, then it is called as the fire point. The apparatus used is Penske-Martens apparatus. Guys, uh, if you perform these experiments in your laboratories, then it will be really helpful. You will come to know what is the exact apparatus, what is the exact specifications. Okay. Since we don't have so much of time here, we cannot cover each and every test. Otherwise, in laboratories, each and every test takes some 2 or 3 hours of lab. Okay. So please understand that I am just giving you the crux of each and every test. Okay. So flashpoint. Flashpoint is 175 for most of the Indian bitumens. 175 degrees Celsius for most of the Indian bitumens. And it is flashpoint is something when sparks starts to come out. Okay, so it just flashes when subjected to open flame. And fire point is, it is not given. Okay, this is given by IRC 175, and by IRC, IRC doesn't give the fire point. Okay, so what you have to do is go up to the flash point only. Okay, you have to restrict yourself, you have to hit the bitumen until the flash point only. No subjection to continuous no subjection to temperature that would lead to continuous burning of the fuel. Okay, so next test is the solubility test. Solubility test. Pure bitumen is completely soluble, okay, in gasoline. Pure bitumen is completely soluble in gasoline. It completely dissolves in this. Okay, completely soluble means dissolves. So also in benzene. Okay guys, also in benzene. And for lab purposes we use benzene to dissolve. Okay, and just for your information, tar completely dissolves in toluene. toluene. Okay, so these are the tests that can be used to find out uh, the purity of bitumen. If it is pure bitumen, then it is going to be soluble, it is going to be completely soluble, it is going to completely dissolve. If not, it is not going to dissolve. So this is the way how the purity is found out. And also there are some specifications that at least so much of the percent of the bitumen should be soluble, and not more than this percent of the carbon residue be left, and all and all. Okay, so next test is the spot test. Spot test. So naphtha solution used in the naphtha solution is used. It is to detect the overheated or the cracked bitumen. It is to detect overheated or the cracked bitumen. Overheated or cracked bitumen. Okay, and due to continuous heating, I'll tell you what is overheated or the cracked one. Due to continuous heating, the bitumen loses its ductility and softness, so which shall be avoided. So please write down what is overheating. That is, due to continuous heating, bitumen loses its ductility or softness. Ductility and softness, which should be avoided. Okay, so in this test, what is done, there is filter paper of this kind, filter paper, and bitumen is placed here, bitumen. Okay, if this bitumen, if it spreads uniformly, then it is a good bitumen. If spreads uniformly, it's good bitumen. Okay, next one is the loss on heating test. Next one is the loss on heating test. Loss on heating test. In this test, the bitumen is heated for 5 hours to 163 degrees Celsius. So heated to 160 degrees Celsius for 5 hours. And for bitumen used in pavement surfaces, bitumen used in pavement mixes, the loss should not be greater than 1%. Okay, loss on heating should not be greater than 1%. Okay, next one is the water content test. Water content test, and water content should not be greater than 0.2% by weight. I am not going to discuss how to find out the water content since it is known to all of us. So that was the last test on the bitumen. Now we will discuss tests on cutback bitumen. Tests on cutback bitumen. Okay. So I have discussed what is cutback bitumen. It is bitumen plus some diluent. Bitumen plus some diluent. Okay. So it is to reduce the viscosity. Reduce the viscosity. After some times, this diluent being volatile, it evaporates and only bitumen is left back. Okay, and you can use it the way you want. It is just like the nail paint that we use, exactly the same scenario. There also we have got some diluted, and after some time the diluted uh, gets evaporated in few of the cases. Okay, so cutbacks are used in cold countries to reduce the viscosity of bitumen instead of heating. Okay, so you see, those countries have been facing problems in order to lay roads itself. Okay, and for example, Russia and Canada, they have got negative temperatures, and that is the reason they have got very slow growth. Okay, so now let's discuss the types of cutbacks. Types of cutbacks. Okay, types of cutbacks. Types of cutback bitumens. Okay, so first one is the RC, that is the rapid curing one. So it is, second one is the medium curing, and third type is the slow curing one. Slow curing. So RC, this is MC, and this is SC. So in this, bitumen is fluxed with naphtha or gasoline. Okay, naphtha or gasoline. Here it is fluxed with kerosene or light diesel oil. Kerosene or light diesel oil. And here it is fluxed with high boiling point gas oil. High boiling point gas oil. So this one rapidly evaporates. Okay, rapidly evaporates. That is the reason it is rapid curing. Okay, and this slowly evaporates. So this one is the slow curing. Okay, guys. So let's discuss the nomenclature, that is rapid curing, and there will be suffix 0, rapid curing 1, rapid curing 2. So this way, RC1, it is not the suffix, it is here like this. Okay, same way RC5. Okay, similarly, medium curing 1, MC2 up to MC5, SC0, SC1, SC5. Okay, so the relationship is such that higher is this number associated. Okay, higher is the number, higher is the viscosity. Okay, that is, less is the fluidity. Please understand that RC5 has got higher viscosity, that is it's a less fluid. So SC5 is more viscous than RC0. You can say that SC5 is more viscous than RC0. Again, SC0 and RC0 both have got the same viscosity, but RC0 gets hardened rapidly than SC0. Please understand my statement. These two have got the same viscosity, but RC0 gets hardened rapidly compared to SC0. So that depends on the curing rate. Okay, and RC0, that is rapid curing, becomes harder faster than the SC1. This hardens faster than the SC1. So hence they are independent, and number directly corresponding to the viscosity, and the letter directly corresponds to the speed. Okay, it is independent. Okay, so let us write down the same thing, that SC5 is more viscous than RC0. SC0 and RC0 have same viscosity, but RC0 gets hard rapidly than SC0 gets hard rapidly than SC0. RC0 becomes harder fast than SC1. Okay, hence they are independent. So I have already discussed how it is, but what these all tell is hence they are independent, the number and the letter. Okay, independent. So just for clarification, I am writing over here that number corresponds to viscosity only, and letter corresponds to speed only. Okay, speed of curing only. Okay, so next thing we are going to discuss is the emulsions. Emulsions are bitumen plus water plus some emulsifier. Okay, so what we do, uh, in such container there will be some water. Okay, water, and there will be some amount of emulsifier, and bitumen will be sprinkled like this. Okay, bitumen will be sprinkled on this like this. Okay, so what bitumen does, it floats for some time and settles down if sprinkled on water. To avoid this settling, to avoid this settling, we add emulsifier. Avoid this settling, we add emulsifier. Okay, so these emulsions are used to stabilize the sand, are used to stabilize sand. Okay, sand, that is to increase the strength of sand, increase the strength of sand. Okay, so if this is the ground level, this is the sand, and it is simply poured on it. Okay, the emulsifiers. If only bitumen was used without water, then layer of bitumen would have formed. Okay, on soil, and this process would have not happened, of increasing the strength of sand. And this is very common practice for road construction in deserts or in seaside roads where there is sand. Okay guys, wherever there is sand, it is mainly used for the maintenance and the patchwork. Okay, mainly used for the maintenance and patchwork. Maintenance and patchwork, and the advantage is that it can be used in wet weathers even when it is raining. Okay, for it can be used in wet weathers even when it is raining. Okay, so next we are going to discuss is the road tar. Okay, road tar RT. So it is obtained after destructive distillation of wood or charcoal, wood and charcoal. Okay. Uh, there are 5 grades for road tar, that is RT1, RT2, RT3 and up to RT5, that is the road tar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and suffix number, the suffix, the number only, the number, as the number increases, the viscosity also increases. Okay, viscosity also increases. So RT1 has got less viscosity, less viscous, and this one is highly viscous. Okay, less viscous and highly viscous, and that is the reason, since it has got the less viscosity, uh, it is used for surface painting, used for surface painting, surface painting under exceptionally cold weathers, under exceptionally cold weathers, exceptionally cold weathers. Okay guys, RT2 is recommended for standard surface painting under normal Indian climatic conditions. Same again for the standard surface painting under as per like for Indian climates, for in the Indian climates, and by okay, it is recommended for the standard surface painting for the Indian climate. RT3 is used for surface pointing and for the renewal coats. Okay, RT3 is used for surface pointing and the renewal coats. RT4 is used for pre-mixing tar macadam, used for pre-mixing tar macadam in base course. Okay, and RT5 is used for grouting purposes, used for grouting purposes. So importantly, RT5 it is used for the grouting purposes, and RT2 is recommended for the Indian climates, and RT1 is used in the cold climatic conditions since it has got the less viscosity. Okay, so we are done with tests on the uh, individual highway materials, and we will be now moving on to tests on bituminous concrete, bitumen concrete. Okay, so what is bitumen concrete? That is the bitumen concrete stands for coarse aggregate. It will have coarse aggregate, fine aggregates, the fly ash in some amount, and bitumen. Okay, so bitumen. So in it will have coarse aggregates as it gives strength. Okay, fine aggregates, it acts as void filler. Fly ash is also void filler. Void filler. Using fly ash, finest voids are filled up. Okay, finest voids filled up, and bitumen is the binder. Okay, it is the binder material. Okay, so in this way, this is what the bitumen concrete is. It will have coarse aggregate, fine aggregates, fly ash, and the bitumen. Okay, so the first test on bitumen concrete is the Marshall stability test. The test is the Marshall stability test. Okay, Marshall stability test. And Marshall mix design method is applicable to hot mix bitumen concrete. It is the Marshall design method is applicable to hot mix bitumen concrete. Okay, and it is not applicable for cold mix. Okay, it is applicable only and only for hot mix. So bitumen concrete will have coarse aggregate plus fine aggregates plus fly ash plus bitumen. Okay, we have just discussed this. So if I draw a three-phase diagram, it will be of this kind. Three-phase diagram will be something of this kind. There will be solids. Okay, there will be bitumen and there will be air, and we prefer to use everything in percentages, measure everything in percentages. So this portion, the air, will be the volume of voids. Okay, this one will be percentage volume of bitumen. These are all in percentages. Okay, percentage volume of bitumen. And solids stands for coarse aggregates as well as the fine aggregates and the fly ash. Okay. So this was the three-phase diagram. So in order to find out the volume of air voids, the formula is volume of air voids. What we can do, GT minus GM upon GT into 100, where GT is equal to theoretical specific gravity without considering air. Theoretical specific gravity without considering air. Okay, and GM is the measured specific gravity by considering air. Okay, since we are using in percentages, the theoretical specific gravity will be given as 100 upon percentage weight of coarse aggregates upon specific gravity of coarse aggregates plus percentage weight of fine aggregates upon specific gravity of fine aggregates plus percentage weight of fly ash upon the specific gravity of the fly ash, and plus percentage weight of bitumen upon the specific gravity of bitumen. Okay, where WCA is percentage weight of coarse aggregate, WB is percentage weight of bitumen. Okay, similarly all others. And from where it comes that we have been using formula that if you take it here on the left hand side and GT over here, then we will get 100 upon GT, the theoretical specific gravity of complete bitumen mix. Then it will be of this kind: percentage WCA upon GCA plus percentage WFA upon GFA, and like this. Okay, plus add two more terms here and here. So this formula you might have used, it is very commonly used formula, and we substitute all the values, and I have taken just GT on the left hand side and written it in this format. Okay, so this is nothing new for all of us. Okay, so the GM, that is the measured specific gravity, will be gamma m upon gamma water, okay, at 27 degrees Celsius. It is 27 degrees Celsius. It is standard temperature for all the tests now, okay. All the tests in, I'll say, in civil engineering, okay, almost in the civil engineering. So measured specific gravity is the specific gravity, sorry, the measured unit weight upon the unit weight of water, where for your information it is unit weight gamma m, the measured one, it is simply weight of sample upon the volume of sample, okay, volume of sample. So you have to simply measure weight of the sample upon volume of the sample. From there you will get this, gamma value divided by standard gamma of water, which is known to us. You will get the measured specific gravity of the bitumen concrete, and that can be used, okay. So here the gamma m, gm, we obtained gm from here, we obtained gt from here. So in our previous formula, okay, in order to calculate the volume of air voids, we have to use gt and gm. We are in position to calculate now volume of air voids. I'll repeat. To calculate the volume of air voids, what we do is gt minus gm upon gt, the theoretical specific gravity, minus the measured specific gravity. To find out the theoretical specific gravity, we have got this formula, very famous formula that we have been using, okay. Uh, and I just converted gt equal to so and so. We know values for all this. From here we get the gt value, and gm, the measured specific gravity, it is equal to gamma m upon gamma water, that is the unit weight of water upon the measured unit weight of the specimen, the bitumen concrete, and the unit weight of water. And measured unit weight is simply weight of sample upon the volume of sample, okay. Since we know gt as well as gm now, we can substitute it in this formula, and we can find out the volume of air voids, okay. Percentage volume of air voids will be known to us now, okay. So next thing what we need is the volume of bitumen, okay. Percentage volume of bitumen, percentage volume of bitumen. So VB equal to gm into the measured specific gravity into weight of bitumen upon the theoretical specific gravity of bitumen, okay. Okay guys, so now we know the percentage volume of bitumen and percentage volume of air voids. So the total voids in mineral aggregates, so the please write down that total voids in mineral aggregates, that is voids in mineral aggregates, will be given as VAM is given as VA plus VB, okay. Both are in percentages, okay. So our three-phase diagram was like this: the air in percentages, bitumen in percentage, and the solids in percentage, okay. Solids in percentage. So volume of air and volume of bitumen, okay, volume of air and volume of bitumen, both are the voids, okay, both are the voids. And to find out the voids in the mineral aggregates, what we are taking is we are taking the simple algebraic summation of these two in percentages, okay. So these are the volume of voids in total voids in the mineral aggregates, okay. Few voids are filled with air and few voids are filled with bitumen, okay. And next is voids filled by bitumen, percentage voids filled by bitumen, okay. That is voids filled by bitumen. VFB is given as VB upon VMA into 100, which is very simple and very straightforward, okay. Voids filled by bitumen is VB upon VMA upon 100, okay. This is actually done to ensure that bitumen concrete quality based on the specific gravities. Okay, so all these things are calculated, these calculations are made to ensure the bitumen concrete quality. These calculations for bitumen concrete are done to ensure the bitumen concrete quality based on specific gravities, based on specific gravities. Okay, so based on gm and gt we get the volume of voids. So based on this we decide the we ensure the bitumen concrete quality. What we started with discussion for the Marshall stability test, but for explaining the Marshall stability test I needed to first explain you what bitumen concrete is, and once we started discussing the bitumen concrete we continued with the discussion and we tried to find out the specific gravities, the what are the voids and everything, and a few calculations related to it, and we did not discuss the Marshall stability test at all. Okay, so after this discussion on the bitumen concrete we will be taking up the Marshall stability test. Okay, so in the next lecture what we will be doing is the Marshall stability test, the apparatus, and uh, brief description about it. Okay, once we go for discussion on the Marshall stability test, you will get more understanding on this. And as far as these equations are concerned, once we take the numericals, you will get insights on this. We will be in next lecture. We will be taking up numericals on this, the bitumen concrete calculations, and then we will go for the Marshall stability test and how to decide the optimum amount of various constituent materials. Okay, so guys, thank you so much. See you in the next lecture.